Welcome to the Blow Your Mind podcast. If you're trying to figure out who you are, where you're headed, or how to trust yourself in the middle of it all, this show is for you. I'm Erika. I grew up in a trailer park on food stamps, and I went on to build a multi-8-figure award-winning company without a safety net and without pretending it was easy. I'm now a CEO, a best-selling author, and a philanthropist. And what I've learned is this: real confidence isn't a feeling. It's self-trust built through evidence. This is a place for real conversations. You'll hear from me and occasionally my husband, Chris, as we talk honestly about real life and the standards and decisions that separate talk from results. Let's blow your mind. I found myself in an emergency room in Boston with a client. And the reason I was there was because of me. It was never a situation I thought I would find myself in, but here I was. And when the doctor asked, what's going on? Because at the time it was, do I have a brain bleed? What's happening? My vision was coming and going. My heart was super elevated. I was pale white. I was vomiting. And here we were. And my client actually drove me to the ER. And he said, what's going on in your life? I think you're having a panic attack. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not having a panic attack. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. And he's like, do you have a lot of stress going on in your life? And I said, no. And my client butt in and said, actually, yeah. She's launching a drug for us and also for 2 other companies while she builds her company. She kind of has a lot going on. Today, I want to welcome you to the Blow Your Mind podcast. And we're going to talk about the things we don't talk about in the office and what the cost is of you when you don't choose yourself and what the impact of that can be, not just for you, but for your loved ones and those around you and your work and people who depend on you, and what it feels like to get a phone call that says, I'm in the ER with my client and I'm having a panic attack. My love. Thank you for coming back
of course.
On the show. I had a really good time last time.
Me as well.
What was that like? As you got that, and that, to be fair, that was the second one.
Yeah. So,
or no, it wasn't. That was the first one. The second one was in St. Louis.
I don't remember, the order but I do remember them both pretty vividly. And again, on the last podcast, I say I'm pretty old school, and I definitely had an old school mentality about mental health as well. And I didn't really believe in panic attacks at the time. It's not something I've ever seen, or I'm like, what do you mean panic attack? Just calm down, just relax. Right. Until I saw it up close and personal, and it, you could see there is physical changes when you're having a panic attack. It's not just mental. The doctors were nervous. They were doing tests. They could see a difference in you. And so it's very shocking to see and very scary to see. And then not knowing when they could pop up, is another thing that just leaves you feeling very, vulnerable, I guess.
That has been the hardest part of and then I've worked a lot with my therapist. I talk openly about that too. I love my therapist. I started to see Alicia, who I see now after Kingston passed, and she's really helped me understand how to not be afraid of the panic attack. The more you're afraid of it, the more it might happen again. But also I gaslit myself too. I felt the same, where I was like, how can it just be that it's in my mind? There's got to be something that's wrong. There's got to be something that's going on. And when I was in Boston, they gave me a migraine something cocktail, and I could feel the adrenaline that go through my entire body. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, I'm good. I don't have the headache anymore. The heartbeat is down. Let me out of here. Let me go back to work. And it was my clients who were like, absolutely not. You need to go to your hotel room. You need to relax. You need to be in the dark room and fly home tomorrow. And then the one that happened here in St. Louis, I remember it was another day of, we were planning to scale directory and hire more people. And I could feel the weight of everything building on top of everything. That as I was driving home, I felt like I was going to pass out as I was driving. And so then I ended up calling a friend who took me to the emergency room. And then you met me there. And it really did feel so good to have the doctors meet me where I was at and to recognize that it was a real thing. And I can't remember a lot of what happened in the ER. I know the St. Louis one was a little longer and harder, and it was a darker room, and the cocktail didn't work immediately. But there is a lot of fear of what happens if it happens again, and am I weak because it's happening?
Yeah. I mean, and there has been several times where you've come close to having panic attacks too, and you can feel yourself start to hyperventilate, tears are welling up. So to answer if you're weak, absolutely not. Like, I think you push yourself just to such extreme limits, especially during those early days of directory, that, it was, almost assuredly you were destined for panic attacks. And then after that, I think you've done a really good job at like realizing where you're at and not just pushing through to where you do completely, just collapse.
And I think that has been the learning of like, when I say like choose yourself, it's choosing yourself in the way of like, you always hear the saying, like, you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you can help somebody else. They tell you that on planes. And like, there's a reason for that, because you can't pour into others. You cannot lead well if you are like white knuckling life all day long. And it's not even just the stress and acknowledging the stress, but it's also like making sure I was sleeping. I wasn't. I would be up until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, working on proposals, on slides, board updates, different things that we were doing. And then I would be right back up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I had an East Coast client and I had a Pacific Coast client. So it was just like really long days. And so choosing myself, I had to learn I do need proper sleep. I do need to get up from my desk and like move around. And I started to feel like when I would sit like this for too long and have like popping knees because I would be here for 8 hours or just only to get up to go to the bathroom, like that will do things to your body. That's
something that is not talked about a lot. How sure we say how hard it was to start directory, but people don't know that you were doing 3 full-time jobs at one time. It was just you working for 3 different companies, all doing launches, and you got it done. Like, it took you 12 hours a day, and tons of travel, but you were so efficient and so great at your work. No one knew that it was just one person doing all this together. But I mean, it's definitely was unsustainable. Yes. And so,
yeah, it definitely was unsustainable. And I think the thing that got me through was that I knew Thomas and Ryan were coming. Like, I knew they were going to start sometime in February. I had only had like 4 months on my own. And then I knew it was going to be a little hard, like, to integrate them in and like get clients to feel comfortable with them and them to take over the work. So I was like, can I do this for 6 months? Can I do this for 8 months? And I had an end in sight, which is, I think, why I was able to get through it. But gosh, I would have changed a lot of things. Those moments were really scary. And I gained a lot of weight when I started my company. I wasn't eating well. I wasn't working out. I was just traveling and working all the time. On the weekends, it was just laying and cuddling with the kids on the couch, which I love you because you always told me I was beautiful, and you really loved me through thick and thin, literally. That's a real thing. But yeah, it was really hard, and it was this relentless belief in the vision that I had for what was possible and what we were building. But how I wish I could go back and tell myself to do it differently and to try to get the sleep, to try to do other things. Like now, as we've become more successful, I feel so grateful that I'm able to do some of the things that I do. I mean, I grew up on food stamps with like nothing. And so I am so appreciative of the things I get to do now, like my NAD injections. Like I get an IV once a month to replenish myself. I get a massage. Those things matter, and they're needed for me in the life that I have today. But it doesn't always have to be that hard. Like it could be just getting out in the sun, walking around and not sitting this way at my desk for 8 hours would have been a game changer.
Yeah. I mean, there was no talking to you then, though, either. You were so single-minded focus. Like, I would try to kind of break things up. Like, let's do something. Let's, get you out. Here's some more water,
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could barely pull your head up from your computer screen just because of the pressure you were under and how important it was for you to make this successful. So,
yeah. I think, we always do the mind-blowing moment in every episode. And I really believe the one for this one is just like, it doesn't have to be complicated to choose yourself. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be expensive. Like, the challenge would be like, look around your life, and how are you scheduling yourself? Are you building in time for yourself, for even just laughter sometimes, like calling a friend, call like any type of just joy, look for the joy, and like look for the reset, plan for the reset. I still have hard seasons today. Like last year, I had 13 weeks straight of travel, and whether it was for directory for like Inc. 5000 or going to a children's hospital or doing a gala event, like there was a lot happening, and it was lots of high and low moments, but I always planned for the reset of like, okay, I'm going to plan nothing on the weekend, or I'm going to make sure I have a massage, or I'm going to make sure that we're going to take the kids for a walk, and I'm feeling like I'm still getting to live and enjoy my life.
I will say you have done just a full like 180 when it comes to self-care in the last 3-4 years. You're consistently keeping yourself extremely busy, but yeah, you really have taken time for yourself. And last year you were even scheduling 4 seasons with you and a friend once a month, you know, just for a spa day. So
yeah, like,
and that makes it a lot easier, because it is tough for me to watch her suffer so much, you know, especially when she's putting herself through that. So as time has gone on, it's become easier, and I trust her that she's not going to push it, you know, to the nth degree, and, you know, take care of herself.
I think it's through my Blow Your Mind framework that I'm rolling out on this podcast of like, yeah, I've decided who I want to be, and I've told myself I'm not the person that grew up in a trailer park. I'm not the person that my dad didn't choose me. Like, I am worthy, and I am smart, and I am capable, and I'm going to do these things. But then really leaning into what are the systems that need to be in place for me to be able to take care of myself so that I can then create all of the evidence of this incredible life that we have. But I do feel like one of the areas that you help remind me of is like just our connection. Like, I think sometimes I can get in my head a lot, and I'm always like, I'm such a doomsdayer planner. Like, every single thing that happens, in whether it's in Tiny Superheroes or at directory or with a book launch or a media interview or anything, I'm always thinking of like, what are all of the things that could go wrong? And if I only spent enough time thinking about what are all the things that could go right. But I have felt like that's what's made me successful, of like, I have planned not just A, B, C, D, like I have planned like M, N. Like, there's so many other like safety nets and plans. And so I think sometimes I get really quiet, or I just come straight down to bed, or like we're not talking. We're just kind of like together in the same room, but we're not connecting. And you reminded me of that just a couple weeks ago, where you're like, hey, I'm here. Like, be my wife. Let me be your husband. And just the power of like a hug.
Yeah, I think like every good relationship is about balance, and you do like to worry, and I'm kind of like Mr. Magoo, just kind of walking around, you know, like thinking everything's going to be just fine. It's I think it works for us, you know, like I can bring you up a little bit, and you can, you know, have me look at, you know, big picture a little bit more, and make sure, you know, we're planning for, you know, all the things. So, yeah.
How do you take care of yourself? Like, not just in how you take care of yourself, but like, I can imagine that's so hard where like...
My framework is just wild. Just wait till I roll out my framework. Just gonna...
One day you might. Like, don't play. Because honestly, like, I think it is hard. Like, roles reversed. If you're the one going to work every day and you're doing all these crazy things and everything you do is new, like whether you're talking to a professional sports team or you're on the news and it's live, or you're doing something for your company, like, and then you come downstairs and you're like if I'm in your shoes, you're like, what kind of day do we have today? Like, is he stressed? Is he not stressed? Is he happy? Is he not happy? Like, how do I need to adjust for what's happening today? And like, we talk about this a lot. Like, you're allowed to have bad days too. Like, there's stress that comes with like our kids going to the doctor's appointments to watch them go through the surgeries and the radiation and the things that they've happened. And like, sometimes as a human being, hormones suck. And like, you can just be sad because you're sad. So like, how do you take care of yourself on the other side?
So I'm a pretty simple guy. I just like to be with the kids. I like to golf. I have a golf simulator in my basement I am blessed with, and it is kind of my happy place. I can be down there, and I don't think about anything. You just think about that stupid golf swing, and, you know.
It stresses you out.
It does, but it's a good stressor.
Yeah.
It not even stresses me out, but it occupies a lot of my mind. So, so pretty simple stuff. I'm a pretty straightforward, simple dude. Just,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would just say,
I don't know if you were expecting face masks and, shiatsu massage. No, I'm not into essential oils or anything of that nature. Just,
Yeah. I mean, I just, I'm always just curious about like how it feels. Empathy is so important, and putting yourself in other people's shoes is so important. And I want to think about like, are you happy in your life? Are you enjoying your life? Are you like, it is hard on the other side of that too. And like for anyone listening, like if you are the stay-at-home parent, like that is hard. Like, and you have your own contribution to the family. You are a partnership and both matter. And if you have a partner who they're the stay-at-home, like make sure you're thinking about them too, is I guess what I want to make sure.
Think about us. Think about us,
But also for those who are like both partners are working, both have a big workload. And I think it's even more important when that happens, where it's like, gosh, now you both have jobs and you have human kids or you have furry kids. Like, how are you coming together as a team and saying like, we are on the same team, and you're like kind of like my best friend, and like, you are my best friend. So how do we do this together?
Yeah. I think that's the key, right? Is that we are best friends. And at the end of the day, no matter what's going on, some of our best times, just relaxing, self-care, is just me and you in bed, talking, laughing. So, cracking up. Yeah. Cracking up. So.
Yeah. Our Friday night rituals.
Yeah.
Some of you might know this. Others are going to know now.
Are you going to tell people?
Listen, it is legal in Missouri.
Whoa.
We take edibles on Fridays. And so 5 p.m. you pop the edible, and man, I have never laughed so hard. I've never like cackled so hard.
But that's because I'm hilarious.
I mean,
not
that too.
Just because.
That's true. 100%.
Yeah.
100p, my love.
Yeah.
But then I'm in bed by like 7 p.m. and like out. And then you play the boys. You go to war on the game.
Me and the boys.
Yeah.
Late night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wake up super early on Saturday, and we have a great weekend.
Yeah.
So I love looking forward to that. Like, I think some families have like pizza night, and we have like, I mean, it is pizza sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sure, a whole pizza sometimes.
Easy.
But anyway, the challenge I would say to anyone who's listening.
What are we even talking about?
I know, I got off track. I got off total track. I would just say, really think about what is it costing you to not choose you and to not take care of you. And you get one body, one vessel. Like, how do you honor it and take care of it? And if you have a partner in your life, like, how do you talk to them and find the moments of joy? And also, like, no, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated.
That sounds like good general advice, but what is the subject we're talking about right now?
Choosing yourself, taking care of yourself.
It started with panic attacks?
Yeah, that's where it led to for me, because I wasn't taking care of myself.
That's true.
Yeah, and it's the things that people don't talk about.
Thank you. That rounded it out for me.
Yeah.
There will be some editing.
100%. Or maybe this might stand. People can, Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I hope you enjoy having my husband Chris join. I think this is so fun. And so we'll see how many more times we can convince him to come over and be on the show and share more about our life, share more about how he's thinking. And like, hopefully it just shows how communication really can happen. It doesn't have to be complicated or scary or a lot. And so with that, we will leave you from the Sinner household, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Blow Your Mind podcast. If something you heard today stayed with you, that's your cue. Apply one idea. Keep one promise to yourself this week, because that's how you blow your mind. If this helped you build proof, shift your identity, or have an aha moment, share your receipts on Instagram and tag me at Erika_Sinner. Leave a review wherever you're listening so more people can find this work and blow their minds too. I'll see you next time.